Okay, there is one other thing that we wanted to look at as well. Apparently they changed the patch. They changed the patch for StarCraft 2. So let's take a look at it. I want to take a look at that as well. I said I would do that today. Okay, so this is the patch that we were talking about before. It was in a testing phase, and they've now changed a bunch of things. And I heard that these are actually pretty big changes for StarCraft 2. And I believe this is going to be the final thing. Okay, so these are the new notes. Okay, so let's take a look. First off, worker units no longer need to wait for full deceleration before beginning to attack. Wait, is that going to make them like StarCraft 1 units? Like StarCraft 1 workers? If you don't have to wait for full deceleration to attack, then you should be able to moving shot. And yeah, they'll be much, much better defensively. No doubt about that. Like, they'll be able to slide into an attack instead of run up, stop stupidly and attack. So that's kind of crazy. This is like a huge change. This is a huge change in defense and a huge change just in general. Like, you might be able to do a bit more harassment with your starting worker. It's literally not something that I ever hear about or think, or rather not hear about, but it's not something I ever think about. So I'm trying to wrap my head around exactly what that's going to look like. Not entirely sure. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Cooldown increased. For Creep Tumor, cooldown increased. Okay, so... And sight range reduced. Okay, so sight range reduction is always going to be good for Creep Tumors. And then the cooldown increase. So it's going to take a little bit longer to spread your creep. That's actually pretty significant how much longer, too. That's almost 3 seconds longer. That's like 25% longer to 30% longer, somewhere in there, right? So that's pretty big. And as I've said like a ton of times, I'm always down to nerf creep a bit. Always down for that. 100%. Creep is the dumbest, strongest thing in the game. All right, hatchery layer hive. Creep spread interval decreased from 0.3 to 0.25, accelerating the speed. The speed at which it increases is slightly quicker. Sight range increase from 10, 11, 12 to 12. So instead of layer and hive getting bonuses on sight range, they're just giving them all the same sight range. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't really... I don't care about that very much. Viper. After abduct, the Viper cannot move or use abilities for 0.71 seconds. Okay. Okay. Well, now at least in ZVZ, when we see Vipers actually abduct each other and switch sides, they'll get picked off more easily, I guess. They won't be able to get away. I'm down for some Viper nerfs. I'm feeling good about that. Reduced size by... An Ultralisk reduced size by 12.5%. Okay, we talked about this a lot before. Reducing Ultralisk size is a big buff to them. That's really great. Increased attack range before an ongoing attack cancels from 1 to 1.25. This affects how far the attack target can move away before the Ultralisk's attack is canceled. The range to begin the attack is unchanged. Oh, okay. Okay, so it's a little bit harder to kite, right? If something runs away from it, then it needs to get a little bit further away before you're canceling that attack. That makes sense. These are big buffs. The Ultralisk is going to be much more used, I would say. That's like, it's a big deal. Just the size reduction is already amazing. This is like the big problem with Ultras. They're so great defensively because they move so quick, and they're actually, the stats on Ultras are great, but their size is too big. So like, that's when people lose. That's why a lot of Zergs don't like Ultras, because they feel like when they make them, they lose, because if you attack with them, they just fucking clump up. They can't get through buildings. They get out microed. It's silly. All right, anyways, Hydralisk. Muscular augments move speed bonus off crease increased. Okay. The speed of creep remains unchanged at 5.12. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, it just gets a speed boost from its speed upgrade. That's going to be a lot better off creep. That makes sense. They want it to be, you know, you're kind of looking for everything to be very microable and very usable. Damage point reduced from 0.15 to 0.1. This is a time between attack begun and the attack's effect starts. Reducing it allows more time for movement in between attacks. Ah, okay. So basically when you put these two things together, they're going to be much more microable off creep. Like you're going to be able to be like attack, move, right? Like move, command, attack, move, command, attack. Yeah, kiting, or chasing something down like that as well. So they'll look a little bit more like Marines. Think of it that way, right? The way that Marines move and the way that they're very quickly switching targets and running. They're trying to make Hydras a little bit more like that. All right, Broodlord, move speed increased. Okay. Duration of spawn broodling reduced. Yeah. They were already doing things like this. But I like it, right? Like Broodlords right now, I feel like every time I see Broodlords, it's like you sit on the Broodlords for a while and then eventually you lose. So I wouldn't mind that being a little bit better. And I'm always down for spawn broodlings to die quicker. Because that's like, they are absolutely insane sometimes. It looks really silly having broodlings absolutely destroy things like Thors. All right. Ravager. Build time increased. Yep. Remove the random delay of up to 0.36 seconds. Okay, I wasn't aware there was a random delay for building Ravagers? What? But yeah, this is a huge nerf to Ravagers. You know, so many times with Zerg, you'll see like a Roach Rush where they'll morph the Ravagers during the battle. And so oftentimes it's like this very damaged egg, and then like, because the Roach was very damaged, then you egg it up, and then it like turns into a Ravager and has full health. Stuff like that's going to be a lot harder to do. Roach Rushes in general are going to be a lot harder to do. That's a pretty big deal. Okay, Protoss, Shield Battery. Battery overcharge, shield recharge rate bonus reduced from 100% to 50%. This reduces the total shields recharged from 1440 to 1080. I don't mind it. I think that sometimes you see these shield battery holds that are like, you should be like, this should not do it all by themselves, you know? Observer move speed increased. Yep. Gravitic booster move speed bonus raised to remain a 50% increase. Oh, okay. So that makes sense. Basically, they didn't want to just add a set amount. They wanted it to be a percentage raise. Model size increased by 10%. It only affects its visual size. So it's just easier to see them, but they move quicker now, which I think this is a good change. Well, the model size, I don't care about that very much. Like, I guess it's going to be a little bit harder to get them out of a scan or something, right? Like, they'll be in the scan maybe a little bit longer, something like that. But when they initially nerfed observer movement speed, the patch notes literally said Terran players were annoyed when observers got away. And that was the dumbest patch note literally ever made in any game. So I'm glad to see them get a little bit of a speed boost. All right. Archon. Reduce collision radius with structures. Yes. Yeah, we talked about that. That is just so Archons can go through walls, the Protoss wall. Because that actually happens sometimes, where you get an Archon stuck somewhere and you have to use a prism to get out, or recall it to get out. Very annoying if they go mutas or something. You need your Archons in your base. Good to see that fixed. High Templar movement speed increase is kind of interesting. I'm surprised they're doing that. It seems like High Templars should be slow. It's not a huge buff, but a little bit. Yeah, Purification Nova for Disruptors goes down in radius. I think it's always good to nerf Disruptors as well. I think Disruptors are not a particularly fun unit for players. It seems silly what they can do, and the fact that it can be 0 or it can be a ton. And to just down the end of a ton is probably pretty smart. Carrier. Interceptor attack target priority. Yeah. Attackers now prioritize other units over interceptors. That's good. You don't want, when you attack move stuff at a carrier, if it's all attacking interceptors, obviously that can be annoying. That's kind of funny though. Like, Because in StarCraft 1, it's like attacking the interceptors is actually how you deal with carriers. You can't attack the carriers. Anyways, Sentry build time reduced. That's good. Move speed increased. That's good. Sentries are super underutilized now. It's, I mean, Sentries got nerfs in the past and stuff because they were so strong. Like at the beginning of the game, they did 8 damage. LOL. I remember having 12 Sentries just kill a flock of mutas. But they're so not used right now. I think quicker build time and quicker speed. That makes me happy to see. Yeah, when you have a unit like this, it's so underused at this point.
Barry
it's
donated $3.33.
Going forward, the Forge. Yeah, they're reduced. Wait, research time reduced by 7 seconds, 9 seconds, 11 seconds, approximately. So, yeah, we kind of talked about this when we were talking about the patch before they did all these changes. It's like a bit of a nerf to like Sky Toss, a bit of a buff to Gateway. Which is good. Like people that just go straight Sky Toss, that's not fun to play against. It's not fun to watch, to be honest. So I like to see it. Okay, Viking fighter mode. Damage point reduced from 0.12 to 0.04. So I believe that's the same thing where it's like it's going to be able to move more quickly in between shots. So that should mean, and that's very quick, 0.04, that should mean you should be able to shoot, move, shoot, move, shoot, move, stutter stepping Vikings, which is kind of hilarious. Liberator. Cost reduced? Okay, a little bit less gas, okay. I think Liberators are actually not used that much right now. So, I don't mind this. Ghost. Enhanced shockwave upgrade removed. EMP radius just increased in general. Steady targeting is cancel. If it runs away to a certain range with a cast range of 10. Steady targeting can now be manually canceled. Okay. I'm not sure what they changed from the last time, because this is basically what I remember it being. It might be like slight number rejiggering, but I think this is pretty good overall. The Ghost just kind of does a little bit too much. It's just so good. So just it is a little bit of a nerf, I would say. Also, upgrades like this, where there's no choice in them, this is something that a lot of RTS developers have told me in the past. They don't like stuff like that too much, right? It's not like there's a strict timing where you get your Ghost Academy. So okay, so to put this in perspective, you look at StarCraft 1, right? There's a strict timing when you get your Cybernetics core. And you can't, if you have Dragoon range when the Cybernetics core finishes, you're going to kill everybody. It's too strong. So, but you're always going to get it, and it's going to be gotten right away, almost always, at least in 2 matchups, right? So that's something that you have in an upgrade. Something like this, where there's not a strict timing on a Ghost Academy, but you're always going to get the upgrade, it's kind of silly, in a way, right? It's like there's no real choice to be made. What you want to make for players is a lot of choices. So yeah, I don't mind this, and it gives like a, you know, the I believe enhanced shockwaves made it 2 range, so they're cutting the difference, right, and just giving you 1.75. Yeah. The and it's not exactly range. It's like your radius is bigger, so that technically increases the range. But anyways. Yeah, steady targeting, like, it's kind of silly in, again, late game TVZ to see, like, a bunch of Broodlords, like, steady shot go on them, snipe, and just have them blow up. It's silly. Also, they should rename this to snipe. They should just rename it to snipe. Come on. Everyone in the fucking world calls it snipe. No one calls it steady targeting. Okay, Banshee. Hyperflight rotors. Research time way reduced. That's a pretty big reduction. And cost reduced. That's good to see. Would like to see more speed Banshees. Okay. Cyclone, Magfield, damage bonus change from +20 versus armor to +10 versus all. Lock-on will now prioritize air units if they have an anti-ground attack. Whoa! That's new. Okay, so... Wow. That's going to make it a lot easier to use Cyclones. That's going to make it a lot easier to use Cyclones. I actually, personally, I don't like Cyclones. The only person that used Cyclones in a way that I appreciated really was TY. But I don't like the Cyclone in general. The fact that it locks on, keeps an insane range, does crazy damage, and like you're just like, and you're just right-clicking it everywhere. I don't know. There's something about it. That's not real micro. It's like Phoenixes, right? The Phoenix, like auto-fire, like the moving shot. That's not micro, to right-click them near mutas. That's like not, there's no finesse to that, right? So I'm not a fan of this unit in general. I don't know. I don't like Cyclones. All right, Sensor Tower, the range reduced from 30 to 27. Okay. Raven, gas. Yeah, gas reduced from 200 to 150. Build time reduction. Huge build time reduction. Goodbye Corvid reactor. Anti-armor missile. Armor reduction from 3 to 2. I think that's totally fine. You don't actually see that many engagements that occur after the armor bust, right? It's like sometimes a forced engage TVP occurs, but for the most part, people just run away anyways, so I don't think that's going to change too much. Anti-armor missiles tint is now brighter from 255-100-0. Oh, thank God that I know the color now, and I can go make the thumbnail for this. Auto turret duration reduced from 10 to 7.8. I wonder how many shots that is. Because in a lot of ways, that's kind of what's going to matter here, right? Auto turret health reduced. Auto turret armor reduction to 0. Auto turret is no longer affected by Neo Steel armor. I didn't know it was actually... I didn't know that Neo Steel did anything for it. That's crazy. I had no idea. Okay, what's up? It looks like... is that the... Someone's saying auto turret lost 2 to 3 shots. Huh. Okay. So... It's interesting. This is really different from what they had in the previous patch notes for the Raven. They had changed it even more, I feel like, in the previous one. Obviously, Neo Steel shouldn't work for that, so that's... I literally didn't even know. Okay. This is fine. You want people to have a choice whether to attack it or not. A lot of times it's not to attack. The health reduction, yeah, so it's much easier to kill. It doesn't last as long. But Ravens, in general, build quicker and are cheaper. Okay. All units follow acquire range, reduced from 5 to 2. Okay. These are just bugs and fixes and stuff. Okay. Shadow Stride attack delay reduced. Okay, I think that's good. That's when they blink in, basically, they'll attack just slightly quicker. Yeah, they really nerfed it on the last patch. That was like a long time ago. They nerfed it like a lot so that it took a long time for that attack, and now they're just kind of reverting a little bit. Increase maximum spawn radius by 1. I don't know why they need to do that. Basically, if factories get completely surrounded, any production facility is 100% surrounded, units won't come out of it. So I guess this fixes that. I don't know in what universe that matters. Yeah, I'm a little bit confused. It's a huge deal. Thors can now spawn through the add-on side where they couldn't be... Oh! So... Ah, I understand. Thank you guys in the chat. So that is because if you have an add-on, you have your tech lab on the right side of the factory, right? A Thor wasn't able to spawn there, but this will fix that. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. I was wondering about that. Okay. Good fix, guys in the chat. Thank you. Yeah, we got some real chat scientists tonight. Would have mine reduced random bro on bro. Yeah. No longer targets Zerg cocoons without a manual order. That's good. No longer targets units affected by neural parasite without a manual order. This behavior is now consistent with other units. So it's like trying to save your own units here. I guess that makes sense, yeah. Okay, Cyclone. Lock on while it's loaded into a medevac. And it doesn't target cocoons without an order. Just some bug fixes. Oh, okay, I didn't realize that this was actually an issue. Order to load into a warp prism while shading. Oh. Wow, they made Adept Harass a lot easier to control. Can now be ordered to load into a prism while shading, automatically canceling the shade. So before, Protoss players had to cancel the shade, then load. So we got to make sure that, you know, we nerf the other things, but you can still do your stupid Adept all-ins, guys. It's even easier now. I don't like it when they make stuff easier, just straight easier. I don't know. The extra click, it's... Come on. It's not that much. Queen fixed an issue where the crew team was canceled, no longer receive certain orders for 0.6 seconds after spawning. Okay. Reduce randomness, always a fan. Attack will no longer be blocked by certain low ground terrain features. Oh, okay. Units loaded into transport could be damaged. I didn't know that this was something that could occur. That's funny. Some of these things, like, I've never even seen. Now the attack cooldown and attack animation speed with attacks at melee and range. Yeah. If you recall, the Hydralisk does, like, a melee attack, basically, when something's next to it, like, hits it with its claws or whatever. So I guess there was a graphical problem with that. Added average delay to base build time. Okay. Fix an issue where Morph to Lurker would be canceled with Smart issue. Okay. Oh, attack priority of Stasis Ward goes up. Attackers will no longer prioritize other units over a Stasis Ward. Now they are prioritized equally. Stasis units can now queue gather orders? Wait, if your units are stasis, you can, like, queue up orders on them now? Really? Not sure I like that. I feel like you should know when it, like, go back when they're about to do it. No, they just don't lose their queued orders. Oh, okay, thank you, thank you. That makes much more sense. Because that would be really weird if you could just queue them to run back to your base. You don't even have to, like, look at it. Be like, yeah, you're going to stim and run the second that you come out. Yeah, okay, I like it that other way better. Interference matrix could not be issued stop commands. Okay, good. Would walk forward below their attack range when given the attack move commands. This happened to Colossus all the time. I have seen this in so many pro matches where the Colossus gets, you know, you'll do one of these timing attacks where you're trying to hit a Colossus user when they have one or two. You interference matrix them, and then the Colossus just walks in the army and dies. It's because of this, so they're fixing that. So the Colossus will stay back at its full range and just not attack. Pauses a mortal barrier. Oh, I didn't know that. Hold on for the correct amount of time. Yeah. Alright. Swan Locust no longer interrupts the current order. Subgroup priority change from hatchery layer hive to hive layer hatchery. Okay. Autocast targeted Dark Shrine? Wait, Shield Battery's autocast targeted Dark Shrine before? Oh, thank God. They fixed an issue where the Reapers threw KD8 charges with the wrong hand. I hate that. I hate left-handed people. That's so silly. Well, I'm glad that the Reapers are going to throw the charges with the correct hand, but the ladder is full of hackers in Brood War. That's... Thank you, Blizzard. Thank you for having your priorities in line. All right, so that's it. That's the changes to the patch. Looks good to me. Looks good. I think the Raven stuff is really interesting. I think the shift in what they're trying to do with Protoss is really good. I think the light nerfs to Zerg are very good, and I like the well, they're nerfing what most of the Zerg stuff is. Well, not most, but like you know, Viper and Creep are obviously ridiculous, and then they're buffing some of the stuff you don't see as much, Ultra, Broodlord, Hydra. So I like it. I like it. I think it's solid. It's going to be fun, and I believe that this patch will be played at like Katowice and everything as well. So that's going to be great. Okay.